Alright folks, gather round. Today we're talking tariffs. Sounds boring, right? Wrong. This tiny tax packs a punch, affecting everything from the price of your morning coffee to global trade wars. So, what is a tariff? Simply put, it's a tax on goods crossing borders. Think of it as a toll booth for international trade. Import tariffs hit goods coming in, while export tariffs target those going out. Now how do they calculate these tariffs? Two ways: ad valorem and specific. Ad valorem is like a percentage commission, say 10% of the goods value. Specific tariffs are a fixed fee per unit, like $10 per kilogram of durian. Exciting stuff, I know, but why should you care? Because these tariffs, my friends, have a sneaky way of impacting your wallet. Stay tuned to find out how. Here's the kicker about tariffs. While governments impose them, it's consumers and businesses who often feel the pinch. Imagine this. An American company imports those fancy Japanese robot dogs. Tariff hits, price goes up, and guess who ends up paying more? Yep, the eager customers. But it's not just consumers. Businesses get squeezed too. Higher import costs can shrink profits for companies relying on foreign materials. And if they try to pass those costs on to consumers, demand might drop, hurting their sales. It's a vicious cycle. So, the next time you hear about tariffs, remember this. It's not just some abstract economic policy. It's real money coming out of your pocket and impacting businesses big and small. Now you might be thinking, if tariffs are so painful, why do governments even bother? It's a fair question, especially when you consider the impact on consumers and businesses alike. Tariffs can lead to higher prices for everyday goods, making life more expensive for everyone. So why do governments still use them? Well, they have their reasons, even if they sound like excuses a teenager would give. Governments often justify tariffs with a mix of economic strategies and political motives. Let's break down some of these reasons. First up, protectionism. This is basically the government playing favorites with local industries. By imposing tariffs on foreign goods, they aim to protect domestic businesses from international competition. This can help local companies grow and maintain jobs within the country. Slap a tariff on those cheap foreign imports and suddenly, locally made goods seem more appealing. Consumers might start buying more domestic products, thinking they're supporting their own economy. This can lead to a boost in local manufacturing and potentially more jobs. More jobs, right? Well, not so fast. While protectionism can help some industries, it can also hurt others. Higher costs for imported materials can lead to increased production costs for local businesses, which might result in layoffs or higher prices for consumers. Then there's revenue generation. Governments need money to run, and tariffs are a handy way to rake it in. By taxing imported goods, they can generate significant revenue without directly taxing their citizens. This money can then be used for public services, infrastructure, and other governmental needs. It's like a tax on, well, taxes. But while it might seem like an easy way to fill the government's coffers, it can also lead to higher prices for consumers, as businesses often pass on the cost of tariffs to their customers. But relying too heavily on tariffs can backfire, hurting trade, and ultimately, the economy. When tariffs are too high, they can discourage international trade, leading to shortages of goods and higher prices. This can make it harder for businesses to operate and for consumers to afford everyday items. And finally, we have retaliation. Remember those trade wars I mentioned? When one country imposes tariffs, others often retaliate with their own tariffs. This can lead to a tit-for-tat escalation, where each side keeps increasing tariffs, harming both economies. Yeah, tariffs are the weapon of choice. They can be used as a bargaining chip in international negotiations, but they can also lead to strained relations and economic downturns. One country imposes tariffs, another retaliates, and things can escalate quickly. This can result in a full-blown trade war, where both sides suffer economic losses. It's a high-stakes game that can have serious consequences for global trade and economic stability. It's like a playground brawl, but with global economic consequences. In the end, while tariffs can be a useful tool for governments, they come with significant risks and trade-offs. Understanding these complexities can help us better navigate the world of international trade and economics. Remember the U.S. China trade war? Talk about a tariff showdown for the ages. The U.S. slapped tariffs on billions worth of Chinese goods, and China retaliated with tariffs of their own on U.S. products like soybeans and cars. It was an economic tit-for-tat that left everyone bruised. Then there's the steel saga. To protect domestic steel manufacturers, the U.S. imposed heavy tariffs on imported steel. While this might have pleased the steel industry, it hurt other businesses that rely on affordable steel, like construction and manufacturing. Talk about unintended consequences. These real-world examples show that tariffs are not just numbers on a page. They have real-world consequences, impacting industries, jobs, and even diplomatic relations. Section 5, the price we pay. Tariffs and your wallet. Here's the thing about tariffs. They have a nasty habit of making everything more expensive. When governments impose tariffs on imported goods, the cost of these goods rises. This increase is often passed down to consumers, meaning you and I end up paying more at the checkout. Remember those imported robot dogs? They were once affordable and a popular choice for gifts. Well, thanks to tariffs, they might end up costing an arm and a leg. What was once a reasonable purchase now feels like a luxury. And it's not just luxury items. Even everyday goods like clothes, electronics, and food can get hit. Imagine your weekly grocery bill suddenly spiking because of tariffs on imported fruits and vegetables. But it's not just the direct price increase. The ripple effect of tariffs can be far-reaching. Tariffs can also fuel inflation, that sneaky beast that eats away at your hard-earned money. When prices rise across the board, your purchasing power diminishes. When the cost of imported goods goes up, businesses have to raise their prices to maintain profits, and the whole cycle continues. This means higher costs for raw materials, manufacturing, and ultimately the final product. It's like a domino effect, with consumers ending up on the losing end. Each increase in price triggers another, creating a chain reaction that affects the entire economy. So the next time you're at the shops and things seem a bit pricier, remember those tariffs. They might be the hidden culprit behind the rising costs. They might be lurking in the background, quietly making everything more expensive. It's a complex web of economic policies, but the impact on your wallet is very real. Section 6. Can't buy me love, can't buy me stuff. Tariffs and choice. Remember that feeling when your favorite online store is sold out of that awesome gadget you've been eyeing? Well, tariffs can create a similar sense of scarcity, but for a different reason. See, tariffs can make it harder and more expensive for businesses to import goods. This can lead to reduced variety and limited choices for consumers. Suddenly, your favorite brand of Korean skincare or that cool Japanese stationery might become harder to find or simply disappear from the shelves. It's like trying to order your usual kopi at your go-to hawker stall, only to find out they've run out of condensed milk because of, you guessed it, tariffs. Frustrating, isn't it? Section 7. The innovation killer. How tariffs stifle progress. Think of innovation as a global relay race. Each country brings something new to the table, pushing boundaries and creating amazing new products. But tariffs? They're like tripping hazards on the track, slowing down progress and limiting potential. When countries impose tariffs, they create barriers to the free flow of goods, services, and even ideas. This can stifle competition and discourage companies from investing in research and development. After all, why bother innovating when you're protected from competition? In the long run, this lack of competition can lead to stagnation and a decline in innovation, leaving consumers with fewer choices and potentially hindering technological advancement. Section 8. The tariff tightrope, a balancing act. So we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of tariffs. They can protect local industries, generate revenue, and even be used as bargaining chips. But they can also raise prices, limit choices, stifle innovation, and spark trade wars. It's a delicate balancing act. The key is for governments to use tariffs judiciously and strategically, not as a knee-jerk reaction or a tool for protectionism. They need to weigh the potential benefits against the potential costs and strive for trade policies that promote fair competition and benefit both businesses and consumers. It's about finding that sweet spot where trade can flourish, economies can grow, and nobody gets burned by those pesky tariffs. Section 9. So, are tariffs good or bad? Are tariffs good or bad? It's like asking if chili crab is spicy. The answer isn't straightforward because it depends on various factors, just like how some people love the heat of chili crab while others can't handle it. Tariffs can be beneficial in certain situations but detrimental in others. The answer, my friends, is, it depends. It depends on the context, the industries involved, and the broader economic environment. Tariffs can protect emerging industries from foreign competition, giving them a chance to grow and become competitive. On the surface, tariffs might seem like a simple way to protect local jobs and boost domestic industries. By imposing tariffs, governments can make imported goods more expensive, encouraging consumers to buy domestically produced products. This can lead to job creation and economic growth within the country. But as we've seen, they come with a whole host of unintended consequences that can hurt consumers, businesses, and even the global economy. Higher prices on imported goods can lead to inflation, reducing the purchasing power of consumers. Businesses that rely on imported materials may face higher production costs, leading to lower profits and potential layoffs. Like most things in life, it's all about balance. Finding the right balance is crucial. Too many tariffs can stifle innovation and lead to trade wars, while too few can leave domestic industries vulnerable to unfair competition. It's a delicate act that requires careful consideration and strategic planning. Tariffs can be a useful tool when used sparingly and strategically. They can be employed to protect national security, safeguard critical industries, or respond to unfair trade practices by other countries. However, they should not be the default response to every trade issue, but when they become the go-to solution for every trade dispute, everyone loses. Over-reliance on tariffs can lead to retaliation from other countries, resulting in a trade war that harms global trade and economic stability. Consumers may face shortages of goods and businesses may struggle to stay afloat. So, the next time you hear about tariffs, remember this: it's not just about economics, it's about people, choices, and the complex web of global trade. Tariffs impact everyone, from the factory worker to the consumer, and their effects ripple through the entire economy. And sometimes the best solution is to just let the free market do its thing. That's it, folks. In a world where trade is increasingly interconnected, allowing market forces to operate freely can often lead to the most efficient and beneficial outcomes for all parties involved.